me tell you at the top of the show, I don't have all the answers. Now, once again, before you press that stop button, hear me out. Don't press it. We will spend the next year, 2021, I guess that would be the present year, exploring how to break the cycle, create generational wealth, create the home you desire, and live our best lives. The catch? These are the goals, and we'll do it together since I don't have any of this stuff down already. So make sure you hit the subscribe button right now. You are tuned in to Teacher Says Podcast. It is good to be back. You are tuned in once again to the Teacher Says Podcast. I am the host, Seth. It is always so good to be back in your earbuds, wherever you're listening to me. If you have not done so, please make sure that you like, rate, subscribe on YouTube. Subscribe whether you're hearing me on Spotify, iTunes, wherever. A review would always be oh so lovely. And make sure you're following me on my social media platforms. All right, so we're going to jump right into it because it's been a little longer than I anticipated as far as the last time we were together. So the first question I must ask you, we're just about at the tail end of the month of January. How is the budget going? Now, if you're saying, what budget? That's not a good sign. Make sure you go back, listen to the previous episode. Do it now, like press pause. Come back. We'll be waiting on you. However, if you had listened to the previous episode, you may recall I was talking about creating the snowball debt method in order to get out of debt. I have spent the last, probably like year pre-COVID, getting more financially savvy. And as I said at the top of the show, I am not an expert. I am very much a novice, but I had this bright idea, maybe not so bright, like, what if I share on my show how I get out of debt, give myself a year to do so, and, we can try this together, right? So that was my bright, maybe not so bright idea. And we're going through the process now. So what I've done, actually I did this before January, but I went on Google Sheets and I itemized my debt, did the snowball method, highest debt to lowest debt, keeping in mind the interest rates. And I'm proud. I don't know if I announced this previously, because I might actually did this. Yeah, I think it was the beginning of January. I have one less debt. I paid off a Dell Computer that I really should have cash flowed. But at the time, times were tough, and it was a job necessity as I am a teacher, still in the classroom, and it was more of a want. I wanted a nicer computer to work off of. Like, I'm very fortunate where my job did provide a computer. Eventually, it was a computer that was a Chromebook that was new, but kind of felt that way. I had a Dell that I had bought used approximately 4 years ago, I would say. It was working really well, and just the summer started to crash on me for no reason. I was like, problem. And then my previous Dell, brand loyalty, I had for years, and it finally crashed. Like, the hard drive was just a mess of the hot variety. I took it to my computer repair guy, and he was like, you can replace the hard drive, or it'll probably be cheaper just to buy a new computer. Thus, that's what happened. And I got my Inspiron 14 5000 2-in-1. I'm happy with it, but the point of the story was I paid it off fairly quickly. It only took me about 4 or 5 months. It was, of course, less than $1,000, and I looked up where I wasn't paying an interest rate. It was interest-free for a year. So I was like, that's a win. Another debt that I paid down that I'm pretty damn proud of is my credit card. I don't even want to get into how much I owe, but I'm getting it lowered. And I realized when I checked my credit score, it's a hindrance in my credit score because it shows that I have a lot of debt. Even though I can pay off the credit card, like I can afford paying it down. It's just a mess. I mean, that's one thing that I've learned from Dave Ramsey that I somewhat agreement with. Credit cards are a mess. Now, luckily, I only have one. But the one I have, I used it almost up to the limit. Not going to lie. So I'm doing a much better job being cognizant of how much I owe on it, paying it down. And the funny thing is, I don't even really use it very much. It's just the fact that I, have some things that are paid annually, like subscriptions and things of that nature that'll hit me after a year, and I'm like, oh snap! I didn't realize that, this $200 came from nowhere, and it was to renew this or renew that. So it's kind of a pain. So, I haven't talked about a tip I have. Anytime I have a subscription-based anything where I know they're going to renew after a year, I always put it in my phone with an alert, so that way it'll remind me so I don't have any surprises. Like, for an example of that would be my subscription to canvas.com. I'm a huge fan. Whatever it is, it's like point and click Photoshop. I love that platform. Not using it as much as I should as of late, which is kind of a pain, but when it's time to renew the subscription, I get an alert on my phone, just because I don't like any surprises. As I'm looking at my debt, what else do I want to talk about? Student loans. Oh, student loans. Where art thou, student loans? You shouldn't really count on the government to help you out. But boy, are my fingers crossed in regards to being some type of stimulus miracle where student loans are paid off. I mean, honestly, my student loans aren't that bad. I'm almost down to owing under $10,000. So if they say like $10,000 was forgiven, I would be in an extremely good place, like extremely good. So student loans is a big part of the my snowball, trying to thaw it out, I guess you could say. What else do I want to talk about? Oh yeah, my car loan. That's a mess. And I, once again, I have my issues with Dave Ramsey, and I think I'm going to go into some of them next episode. But I will say this. I kind of agree with what he says about cars. And I don't want to say a mistake, but I purchased a new car. I grew up in a car-loving family where it was crazy to talk about buying a used car. You must buy a new car, right? So I fell for it. And the last go around, when it was time to buy a new car, and I'm one of those people, I will drive a car till the wheels are almost falling off. And my previous car was a 2004 RAV4 that I had until the year 2018. And I did buy it new, when I purchased it. It was a new car. So that was a car I was literally driving around for 14 years. And I'll be quite honest, I didn't even really want to get a new car, but I was kind of paranoid. It's the 14-year mark. I have children. I'm like, what if the car starts to break down? It was causing me little issues here and there. Things weren't running as smoothly as they used to. And my automatic doors wouldn't lock the way they should. The window wasn't always rolling up like it should. So you know what I'm saying? Like, I guess other people probably would have ditched the car, but I was literally having problems with just the basics. Like the doors wouldn't lock. I remember I had to train my kids. I'm going to press this button and all the doors are going to lock except for that one. So you have to lock that by hand. Like literally, that's what I said. That's why that came out so natural, because I said that all the time. And the windows, if I go through the drive-through, I keep my fingers crossed that my window would roll all the way down. Sometimes it didn't, and I would have to open the door. Like it got to that point, and I'm like, man. I really didn't want a car payment because I had gotten very comfortable with not having one for a while, because I think I paid that car off in, I think I paid it off in 2010. So I had years of no car payment. I got very used to that feeling. Yeah. So when it was time to buy a new car, I was not excited. I honestly wanted to buy a used car. I was convinced not to. I still could always, and I think about it from time to time. I could always just trade this car in for a used car that, is under $10,000. It crosses my mind that I'm more than likely going to keep it. And then the other, the other debts that I have are my mortgages, and that's not really part of baby step 2, thank goodness, because mortgage is sky high, and my interest rates are good though. I will speak on that. I have decent interest rates. The house that I'm living in currently, crossed my mind to refi. The interest rates I have are kind of high, but I think I'll leave it be for now. So, like I said, how's your debt snowball looking? What are you doing? What do you anticipate paying off in the year 2021? And what are your next steps? I'm really doing my research. I think that's the good thing about COVID. I haven't read so much in years. So I've been studying the FIRE method because I've been thinking long and hard about my career. And I'm like, do I really want to be teaching until I'm in my 60s and 70s? The answer to that is no, definitely not. I want to be able to retire as soon as possible. So the FIRE method is financial independence, retire early. I'm just at the beginning of my journey as far as gaining familiarity with that. So I would not do it justice into really getting into a deep dive of what it is. I know I placed the question on Facebook about some influencers and or resources that are good to follow if you want to learn more about the FIRE method, so you can retire early. And I was advised to follow a couple on the good YouTubes, or as you all might just say, YouTube. And their stick, I guess you could call it, is doing what you need to do in order to retire early. And I don't remember the exact name, and I know it just got loud. My computer just came on, sorry. Anyway, I forgot their exact names, but their YouTube channel is called Our Rich Journey. They give a lot of good tips on paying off debt, saving your income. Even tonight, it's the weekend, and my treat has always been to get carry out on the weekend. But then, pros and the cons. I could be Dave, if I'm really following Dave Ramsey, I should be eating beans and rice delivering DoorDash right now. But like I said, I take elements. I'm Ramsey-ish, which he would just be appalled at, but it is what it is. So rather than do that, I stayed in, of course. I'm a homebody anyway, but instead of buying food from the takeout, I used my newest purchase, which was my air fryer, and just made some air fryer takeout. It was cool, tasty. So there's that. So like I said, cutting costs here, there, everywhere is the steps that I'm doing for now. Like I mentioned before, I'm going to get back into user testing. And I believe I talked about this on the show back in, I think it was October 2020. Phenomenal month on user testing. Best month ever. I made over $300 that month on user testing. And like I said, I do it when I feel like doing it. Answer there a couple questions, take a couple tests. I did really well. I remember the question that came up online, if people actually make money on user testing. I'm like, yeah, it's not enough to live off of, but that was pretty good considering, just making money in my spare time testing websites. So like I said, I made $10 last Friday, just taking one test. It took all of 12 minutes. The only reason I don't do it more often, quite honestly, is being tired. Like I've said, probably 1,009,000 times, I work a full-time job. Now I also do extra duties with my full-time job. We're locked down because of COVID, so we're not working in a school building. We're working at home. Not a fan of virtual learning. Thus, my children are in the same home as me, virtual learning. We're all together. I mean, there's rumblings that might be changing soon, and I'm not flipping out like some people. Oh my God! Honestly, it is what it is. They want us back. I mean, I'm not in a position yet to be like, no. We go back. You better believe I'm going back masked up, gloved up, wearing a scarf. But I'm going to go back. That's what I need to do. I would be, I guess, somewhat excited for I wouldn't say excited. I don't know what word I'm looking for. But my kids, they are doing absolutely awful virtual learning, and their little butts need to be in a school building. So I think it would be very good for them. The only thing I'm not looking forward to in regards to going back, of course, is being around German people. And the second part would be the expenses that I haven't had to deal with in almost a year. I'm back primarily like childcare, paying for that, gas. I went from having to fill up my tank every single weekend to now I fill up my tank probably once every 2 weeks. Sounds about right. Once every 2 weeks. Like I mentioned a few minutes ago, I'm a homebody, so I really don't want to go out, especially with the COVID situation. I don't feel like I'm a hypochondriac, but it's winter. I don't really feel a lot of things are closed anyway. I don't feel the need to be out there in those streets. I do get out daily. I'm the queen of the neighborhood walk. It gets cold where I live. I mean, not in Alaska, but it gets pretty cold. And I make it out almost every day. My only exceptions are I don't like to walk when it's snowing. And I don't like to walk when it's windy and I'll say 25 degrees Fahrenheit and lower. Can't do it. I don't like that. I don't like the wind blowing on my butt. So, being real. So, like I said, it's important to get out and get exercise. And I do. Even though, like I said before, I'm a homebody, going back to the point of what I was saying about possibly going back to work, I'm whatever they tell us to do is what they're going to do, and there's really nothing I'm going to do about it. But I say it with the lens of somebody who has no health issues, and, I get kind of bored being at home. So, yeah, that's my story. And what's your story? So, tell me about your January budget, because I actually want to hear about it. Let's move on. So, I don't know if you follow the stock market. And I am coming from the aspect of a person who just started trading back at the top of 2020, right around COVID shutdown. I'm not going to lie, color me trifling, because I used like half of my initial stimulus money on Robinhood. And I say that now because if you follow the stock market, Robinhood is garbage. I am not a fan anymore, even though I still am on Robinhood. I'm trying to figure out what I want to do and where I want to trade, because I don't like the fact that Robinhood blocked people out on Thursday regarding, if you wanted to trade GameStop. And honestly, no, I'm not trading GameStop. I was excited following it, but at the end of the day, it's like on my comprehension level of what occurred, I would say it was about 70%. Like I get the gist of what was going on with the Redditors, and they're manipulating the market in their favor. Like I get it. I'm not a CNBC talking head, so I can't get into all the vernacular of the financial people, but I understand more or less what happened. So, it's good. I mean, I like that, but I just didn't like the fact that Robinhood tried to shut everything down between GameStop. What else were they trading? AMC, the movie theater, Bed Bath and Beyond. Working off the top of the head, and I don't have notes, so I know I'm forgetting a lot of major ones. I heard about Express. There's somebody else I'm forgetting. Anywho, I was like, alrighty. Because full disclosure, I don't day trade because I just don't have the time to be looking on my phone all day. I do long term investing. Like my Microsoft is doing pretty good. Um, Disney does well at times. I bought Carnival and it was like dirt cheap, hoping one day it'll go up. But yeah, it's not looking good. I did a couple of pharmaceutical companies, a couple of engineering companies. I get a lot of tips from YouTube. When everybody says, "Oh, do your research," well, I do my research. I'm not as in depth as I'm hearing I should be. Like I hear like, "Oh, you're supposed to check the CEO and their cost ratio of like what they owe, if they're making profit." Like that's cute, but at work I don't have time to do all that. I just check the 5 year plan to see if it's going up or more. Like I like Yahoo Financial because I can go beyond 5 years. And if it looks like it's going up, it looks like it's good for me. I know that's really simple, and some financial gurus probably like gagging at what I'm saying, but I mean, that's the way I do it. Um, I get tips from shout out to the Red Panda Club with our guru, Mr. Ian Dunlap. I follow Ian. I follow Earn Your Leisure, which are Troy and Rashad. I'm saying it like I know them. I'm just like, oh yeah, Troy and Rashad. But yeah, they're cool. I mean, I don't know them. I've commented on Instagram before, and they've commented back. It's about as far as it goes. Who else? Oh, the Wall Street Trapper. How can I forget the Wall Street Trapper? I like him a lot. As well as like people on YouTube. Like I'm not a financial snob. I like to follow as many people who sound like they know what they're talking about. Like I'm sure, the Wall Street Trapper is a lot different than somebody like Warren Buffett, but at the end of the day, I like to take a little bit from everybody. If you're not familiar with the Wall Street Trapper, you can find him on Instagram, on Twitter, on YouTube. I absolutely adore him. I think he's like very knowledgeable. He has quite a interesting, I guess you could say, colorful story or whatever. I don't know. I don't like when people say that, but but I just think he's so entertaining, and I don't mean entertaining like, oh, he's so cute. No, he knows his stuff. I like I said, I get knowledge from everybody. Between the Wall Street Trapper, Ian Dunlap, like I said, Warren Buffett. I mean, I don't really listen to him. I'm saying it like I should. I should be listening to Warren Buffett, but I try to find people of color to follow. Because I don't know, that's just the way I roll. So, like I said, when it comes to stocks, I'm learning. I study. I actually really do study. Like I'll read stuff. That sounds so ignorant. I read stuff. Like I don't read. But as I mentioned previously, I read in its entirety Master Market, The Money Master Market, The Game by Tony Robbins. I hope I said that right because I don't have the book in front of me. I actually moved it upstairs to my bedroom because I read it quite a bit. Try to, toy with the idea of taking like a finance class online other than Financial Peace University. But then I feel like, oh, I might get overwhelmed. It might be a bunch of spreadsheets. It might be a bunch of math. And I don't really, it sounds ignorant to say I don't like math. But, I think back into my days of high school and middle school, and math was always very intimidating for me. So I don't know. I don't know what it is. Look at all that. I had to turn the heat down. I have a heater heating on my legs, and it feels quite delicious. All right, let's move on. All right, my last tip of the day is a money saving tip because we are getting into the FIRE method of retiring early. So I'm like, well, what can I do to save some money? I mean, I always think of things to save money, but my newest one is thrifting, like shopping. I can't really, that's a lie. That's not really my newest one because I've been thrifting for a minute. Buying clothes for myself. I'm not going to lie. I don't buy my kids clothes from the thrift store. My children always get new clothes. Me, on the other hand, I would say half thrift, half new. And even when I get new stuff, it's, Old Navy. Like places where it's not going to cost me an arm and a leg. My rationale for not really buying anything as of late is I work from home. The only reason I went thrifting, to be honest, is because I have been wearing leggings and like t-shirts for the past year. We went on lockdown in like March. It was pretty warm, so I could get away with that. But winter was creeping on a come up, and I realized my t-shirts and sweatshirts were not working. So I went thrifting on Martin Luther King Jr.'s weekend because when you think Martin Luther King Jr., you think sales. Not really, but The point is, I went to the thrift shop that weekend. They were selling. They're already deeply discounted prices were 50% off. So I was like, oh, okay. So I was able to get some warmer, like loungy clothes, and of course my heater goes off. Anyway, warmer lounge clothes. Because, like I said, I'm working from home, but I still, want to be comfortable. But I still want to look like I'm getting dressed. No judgment, but I'm hearing like people just rolling out of bed in their pajamas. Not me, not the kid. I think I said something similar before. I still get up, brush my teeth, wash my butt, comb my hair. I put on clothes that honestly I could wear at work on a Friday, like a casual day. It's just like every day is casual Friday at home. Same thing with my kids. They slipped up a few times and went to school in their pajamas online here at the house, and I was not happy because it was days that I got up late and I was in a rush, and they're like, ah. I'm like, no, we don't do that. No judgment, but in our house, we put clothes on when it's time for school, even on the computer. Now, your hair might be looking a little messy. You might not get around to brushing your teeth till lunchtime, but what we're not going to do is take classes in our pajamas. Even me, like, knock on wood, the whole time we have done virtual learning, I have never conducted class in anything other than like clothes that I could wear on a casual Friday at my job. Not judging people who do otherwise. That's just the way we do it in my household. All the time, my hair brushed back, etc., etc. So that's my money saving tip for today. All right, so this is a good time to wrap up the show for today. I'm so glad to be able to be back to talk with you guys. Make sure you share this episode on all your social media. Share it on message boards. Find a tip. Let people know. You can find me across all my social media platforms at Teacher Says. And that's that. So I can't wait to talk to you next week. Take care. Be safe. Bye-bye.